I want to address some of the stuff with the Jeezy comments that I've been getting in the community section. I think DeCarlo said something about me trying to tear down a legacy. Not, I'm not. I'm not. I just want to be accurate with what's going on, and the only reason why the Def Jam stuff came up, and Jeezy said himself, Kevin Liles signed him to Def Jam, right? Kevin Liles left Def Jam February 2004. All of the mixtapes that he put out, they had Def Jam's name on it. Fine. I think that the only reason why I even brought that up, we were comparing movements, right? When we were
Yes.
comparing Troy and Jeezy and what they did in their respective lanes for the city and in the city from a street level, right?
Correct.
And the only reason why I bring Def Jam in it, it's kind of like somebody comparing our podcast and what we're doing right now and our organic growth to Drink Champs or something. It's not the same. And you know what I mean? Like to say that the reach of Jeezy's movement was more national, yes, it was because it had major money and Def Jam behind it. I mean, it is what it is. I think that's just an unfair comparison. And me, I guess, just understanding what the individual grind is like, it's like I even not being a huge Troy fan like that, I'll give respect to what he was able to do with none of that support. I remember getting you remember that I Declare War CD. The shit
Mhm.
looked like it was burned at the
It was
house.
terrible. It was
Yeah,
terrible.
it looked like it was burned at the house. It had like a
It
booklet
was.
with that you printed out on your computer. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think it's just an unfair comparison, and that's the only reason why I brought the Def Jam thing even into the conversation because that's not discrediting anybody that's on a major label or anything. It's got to work anyway. Like people got to connect to your music, and the label can't make that happen. I mean, we seen that with Jack Harlow and all those things.
Hey, Mike, maybe the algorithm like kicked us and didn't like hit us till 5 o'clock because I just got my notification that we were on.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Thumbs up in the chat, y'all, so everybody knows, that we on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so that's the only reason why I brought that up. And again, it's I think it got to be consistent, right? I mean, we talk about
Right.
Chance the Rapper, right,
Right.
and the fact that he might not be as independent as he goes along. I would be remiss to withhold this information that I'm privy to. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a
No,
lot of people just might not know, and I just
no,
put it out there in the course of the decision making process between if I wanted to have Troy on the list or Jeezy on the list, and I think that those things kind of factored in. I think what Troy did from an independent standpoint was actually remarkable. And again, this is coming from somebody who wasn't really a big fan of the I Declare War album like that.
so I agree with a lot of your perspective, but can I play devil's advocate just
Sure,
a little
sure.
bit? Well, some of your perspective is coming from the perspective of an independent artist in Atlanta, which you've been. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about the difference in the grind and it not being a fair comparison, it's like, is that fair? No. But that's like the small forwards for the last 10, 15, 20 years have had to guard like LeBron and Durant at the three position. It's like, well, they got way more tools than those guys, and it's really not fair, but you still have to go out there and compete. And so,
Sure.
though I understand what you're saying fundamentally, you know what I'm saying about it not being fair. It's like we still have to go out there and compete the same way these lesser, smaller forwards has had to come out there and compete. You know what I'm saying against these upper echelon guys. Just for an example. But I understand the premise and the point that you're making. Um, that kind of, and even in that moment, that kind of hurts Jeezy's movement in the sense it makes you look at Troy and respect his movement a little more. But I don't know if it totally, dishevels thing. I think more of your argument should be based on just the style jacking
Yeah.
from Are We Cutting in specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's super valid. And so if you're feeling that way, about it, then yeah. But
Well,
I
it's
don't
kind of
think.
twofold. Not to interrupt you, and I
No,
kind
go
of
ahead.
want to piggyback on that, right? That was another part of it where I felt like that was the Jeezy that people connected to. At least here, I can't speak for everywhere else.
Mhm.
When he was able to take that flow that Pastor Troy created and kind of ran with it, wasn't that the one? The not the one. Wasn't that the flow that kind of ignited the city with the yeah and all that? And
I was about to say, would you?
so what I was gonna say though is I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion and being in radio at that time, the relationships that Troy had in radio was strong. He was Mr. Birthday Bash, all of that. I feel
Mhm.
like if Jeezy wasn't with a major label behind him and coming up as an independent artist, I'm not sure if those same people would have supported somebody who was taking Troy's style.
I don't.
I don't
I don't
know, but
disagree.
that's just my.
I don't disagree necessarily, but it's one of the. I hate to say it. It's like, well, this has happened before. It's not like this is the first occurrence of this. But what I would tell you, don't you feel like Jeezy substantiated himself as a better song maker overall? Because Troy's catalog is good, but it's also very limited.
I think a lot of his stuff is it's not as mainstream, right? And like I said, this is from somebody who wasn't much of a fan of his movement in that way, but the people who were fans of it, they could spout off everything. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm trying to think of the Jeezy records that I could point to and say
Right.
that he was this strong song maker in that way too.
Oh, I mean, okay, so
Because maybe that's a part of it too. Maybe I just don't see the strength in his
you don't
song
love,
making
yeah,
again.
you're not a big Jeezy fan, so you don't really love the songs. I will
Because it's
tell
not
you,
like he's Rick Ross with that. I think that's the big separation with them two. Now, if you said that about Ross, I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? Even out the gate with Hustling and stuff like that. Like, does Jeezy have a song that we can point to that we can say even rivals records like Hustling or BMF from a song making perspective?
I mean, I think Ross and Jeezy, although they came along at the same time, I think very quickly Ross, started separating himself rather early. Ross is one of hip hop's better song makers for his era.
Hmm.
Definitely the best beat picker.
He
That plays a
transitioned
that
very well too.
I was about to say, I'm about to say, there. If you wanted to give Jeezy a couple of criticisms, just like on some MC shit, he hasn't been the best beat picker.
Hmm. I'm with that.
Like, him and Tip actually haven't been the best beat pickers. It's like their legend could actually be even bigger for both had they picked some better records or different records, I would say.
I think that's why Jeezy's mixtape game was so much stronger because he was actually rhyming other people over other people's stuff.
That's true too. I was actually about to say he's also very collaborative heavy with a lot of his big stuff. So
Exactly.
if you wanted to point to that and say that too, like a lot of his biggest songs and records from the beginning of his career to the end have a lot of features and appearances on it. And so no, I understand what you're saying, but he's not West Side Gun, but we give people like West Side Gun credit for the ability to bring people together and make dope ass records and albums with them. You know what I mean? That is some sort of trait and skill to have or to be said in this. My main reason for putting Jeezy on is more about like the catalog, the aura, the legend. It's the fact, no, he's made dope ass mixtapes, he's made dope ass albums, he's been a presence, he's had influence, he's had stature. He's not the best MC in the world. A lot of people aren't, and sometimes you don't have to be. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's gonna be my argument with Quavo today too, and I can't wait to get to that part of it.
Yeah, I had Jeezy at 23 on my list as far as out of the top 25, and I didn't have Troy in my 25, but I had Jeezy at 23,
I
which I
think it
thought
could
was a
go
fair.
either way. Kind of like what you were saying with the Pusha T and Wayne thing. Like I understand everything you were saying when it comes to the Pusha T and Wayne thing. Dumb it down with the super chat says, "You're not giving Phonte respect for having a push." Okay. All right. I want to talk about the Phonte thing because that keeps being brought up, and I think Phonte's a dope MC.
Yeah,
I think that I don't know. Maybe I predicated a lot of my things on impact. And with that being said, I'm gonna be fair. I think. Let me put the list on the screen. I think to be fair, And if I'm gonna be objective, and I know we still got to come with our list together. If I'm gonna be objective and just be totally down the line with this thing and everything that I said about Phonte, I might have to replace Trick Daddy with Killer Mike. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to replace Killer Mike with Trick Daddy. Because I mean, Trick Daddy just has too many countless impactful records, and was running the game. He got quality albums, and he got stuff that you're gonna hear. And as dope of an MC as Killer Mike is, I think that Trick Daddy may deserve that spot over him. Now, can Killer Mike out rap Trick Daddy? Of course. And I think the same thing with Phonte. He can out rap, I would say, maybe 85% of this list. I think it's where I struggle with is the impact part of it, and maybe,
Okay.
maybe you could say that Phonte can replace Currency on my list. I don't know.
See, I mean, on my list that I have both. See, I have. It's funny that you say this. I have Killer Mike at 15 and Phonte at 16, and just the conversation and dialogue you and I were having behind the scenes was actually making me think. No, Mike has a very valid point about Killer Mike's like catalog, and you're like, well, what record of his do you play? Or what do you go to? What's his seminal moment? Because his still probably most famous seminal moment is probably the verse on The Whole World, wouldn't you say?
I think so. Because it could have been the Never Scared, but Ti took the show.
Yeah, Ti took that show.
And the thing is, too, man, like I don't know if we talked about that on this show or offline, but Never Scared was a moment for both of them. Like this was a huge record. I think Never Scared could possibly be the record that if we went back and dialed down where Atlanta kind of start taking over the game, it might be at Never Scared. That might be the record, right?
I felt like Get Low was the record.
Never Scared was a little bit before that.
No, I get it, but I felt like it wasn't really on lock until Get Low like really blew up the way that it did. I was like, oh no, shit on lock. Okay.
Because I think Never Scared was one of those songs that was palatable to East Coast specifically because it had two guys on there that was actually rhyming. But it gave you that crunk, feel with the hook and the beat. And so with that being said, I remember seeing Never Scared on 106 in Park a lot. And I was surprised, because really, Killer Mike was the most famous person on that record.
At the time. Yes.
Yeah, at the time.
Right.
Hands
but that was
down.
because of The Whole World, right? Wasn't that because of The Whole World, though?
That was because of The Whole World. I want to say Adidas and all that was out. Like Monster
Adidas
came out.
Was Adidas out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah,
well,
Killer Mike was out here. We knew who Killer Mike was from, again, the Outkast stuff, The Whole World, Adidas, Action, all that stuff, right? So
I'm going to tell you something, though. Like, there's just, like, not having Killer Mike and Phonte, like having neither one of them in your top 25, though, is pretty much saying I don't really get down with, like, the underground hip-hop version of the South. And so that is kind of a problem a little bit. But I'll be fair with you. It's like if I was going to take either Killer Mike or Phonte, I would actually take Phonte. And not because Phonte is from home state, but because of the catalog.
Yeah.
The Little Brother and solo stuff is
I agree with that.
Killer Mike's stuff. So
I think Little Brother does put him over that. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. Like
now, if somebody said that,
beautiful albums, yeah, and Phonte is snapping on there.
Yeah. Now, if somebody was like, you know what, based on what we just said about Killer Mike, you need to put Phonte in there instead of Killer Mike, I would have been like, that's a very valid point. Dumb It Down says, how do you define impact? Phonte was influenced Drake and other artists, and Run the Jewels is super impactful, performing it for a bunch of people. Okay. I know y'all keep mentioning the Drake thing. Drake has clearly a lot of influences. I remember Drake working with Phonte and Elzhi early. But, I mean, it was the last time Drake actually worked with Phonte. But, again, I guess that's something else.
That was early.
That's something else. What was I going to say? I was going to say, I don't know if we could just measure impact by, one artist, even though Drake's kind of impacted by a lot of things. I pulled up a whole bunch of Project Pat stuff that Drake used, right? And I think that that's just one artist that we can throw on it. The impact is there to an extent, but is the impact more of an impact than the other 25 people on there?
I
Because
think
I want to, but what I want to know is, and this is the train of thought I missed, what is Run the Jewels' impact? Can you answer that one for me, or can Dumb It Down answer that one for me? Like, they got kids out there?
so. I guess that was the thing when I was going through Killer Mike stuff. I'm like, well, what of these solo projects or Run the Jewels projects really stuck and like stayed and did something where you see the influence of Killer Mike? 'Cause think about it. If you think about you bringing up the whole world, like we still thought Outkast was coming up with another album like around that time. So what is this? Oh,
The whole world's 2001. This is 21
yeah, about
years ago.
102.
My bad. Hold on one second. Hello? Hey, I'm doing a live real quick since we're not going on tomorrow. Can I hit you back? All right. My bad, y'all. I ain't cut off my phone. Thursday shows. Even I'm off balance. What were you about to say, though? Whole world. That was 2001, right?
I mean, it's 2 decades ago, so that's time to leave an imprint and an impression. And so when you like where the kids at, it's like no. I mean, if he's had a 20-year career and he's the MC that we say that he is, there should be a few children in the street playing. Look like
Yeah.
Killer Mike. Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we see how quickly, and I know that, and I agree with what you're saying, like, as far as, like, how it reflects what we feel, and it's not about what we feel about the underground or the South or whatever. And I don't even want to say the underground because people like Pastor
I
Troy
don't
are
like that
considered
word. Yeah, I
underground
don't even like
as
that I
well.
said that. Yeah,
But the thing is, we see how quickly somebody like a Young Thug develops kids in this game. How quickly somebody like a Gunna or and I even think somebody like a Quavo is a. I think that Lil Baby is a comes from the tree of Quavo to a degree.
they all come from Future.
They do, they do.
They all come from
But
Future.
I think that
That's
yeah, they
somebody
all
with some
come from
real
Future.
kids out
Future
here in
is
these
the tree,
streets.
right? They all come from Future and Gucci.
Mostly Future though,
I'm with that.
like 90%.
No, that's real. But again, when we have all of the, because anybody on the list,
Sounds like a motherfucker.
what's that?
Say he got sons like a motherfucker.
He
Right now.
does, man. And it
That's
was
real.
very hard to keep him off that list. Homeboy Blaze says, who claims Wale? I know technically he's on the East Coast. The DMV is funny. But I don't think that they claim him. Let's say we count Wale as a part of the South. Where would he rank? That's interesting.
That's fascinating. He definitely claims DC, and they definitely have claimed him to the best of my estimation. So I don't know how valid that assertion is. But
I'm looking
I
at my
mean,
list now. Like, yeah, if I'm
I was about
looking
to
at my
say,
list, I'm running around like 22, 23 ish.
see, my list is different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go. Is your list up on YouTube right now?
Yeah, it is. I got both of ours up.
Oh, you got my list up too. Okay, so like on my list, I mean, I would probably put him 23 ahead of Jeezy, maybe. Before or behind, probably on my list. On your list, Mike, I'd have him higher, but that's just because you have Quavo. So you got Quavo up too high. You want to know it? And also, too, if I actually, you want to know what I would do on my list, Mike? I would actually take out Killer Mike and put Future in right there and take Jay Electronica out and put Trick Daddy in right there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I would do. Like that's how I would redo my list, like based on some of the evidence and some of the things we've been kind of like, piecing together while we're talking about this.
You keeping Sci-Hi and Rhapsody?
I don't know. That's debatable. Like there's some people hanging out there that you could say, you know what I'm saying?
I think, it was a comment that I read, and I usually don't give comments credence like this, but it's interesting that, someone said this. They saw, when we posted your list first, they was like, they said something along the lines of somebody from New York must have came up with this list. And I guess it's because of the lyrical MCs that are on here that may not have. I think it was the J Electronica being at 18. Um, that may not have the, I guess the impactful records to the South. Because that's the difficult thing, right, with this list or a list like this. A lot of the people who might have the most impactful records to that region either A, might not have that type of impact nationally, or B, might not be the best MCs in that region, or both. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what's crazy is that first of all, this top 25 was really a top 50, so we do have
Yeah.
another 25 MCs on the list as well. So a lot of the people that like, I think people feel like we left out. It's like, well, we didn't leave them out like you think. They're just on the other half of the list that you haven't seen.
Right.
It's like Trick Daddy's on your list and my list. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in the top 25. You know what I'm saying? No,
Yeah.
I got some of your dudes on my list. They're just not in the top 25.
And somebody
You know
in the chat's talking about Devin. Yeah, we had Devin in the top 50.
I got Devin. I think I got Devin at 37 on my list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even remember what. Yeah, because that's how this whole conversation started. I like dug up an old list, and then you matched the list. Are you okay to talk about this Quavo thing real quick?
I mean, actually, when you say am I okay, are you asking me if I'm okay while you talk about this Quavo thing real quick? Is that what you mean?
I wanna explain because everybody keeps asking me about Quavo and why he's on this list. I mean,
I'll let you talk. Smoke
again,
the cigar.
Impact is impact, right?
Impact is real.
The impact is real, and even if, like you said, Future got a lot of kids out here, but when it comes to sonically and the way a lot of people are approaching putting music out, and what plays and how it's structured, would you say the Migos have a lot to do with that? To the point where a lot of people were mocking the way that they even pattern their rhymes and their hooks and, you know what I'm saying, ad libs, all those things.
What I would quibble with you about that, though, Mike, is that how effective is that style of song making for them in this climate right now, and for their, for those that have come after them and adopted some of the formula and routine that they have going on. Like, how much is it sticking? Because, like, we could kind of say the same thing about them that we're kind of saying about Killer Mike with the Run the Jewels and all that stuff. It's like, well, how much of that stuff is really sticking? Because I don't really see them out in the street. Because to me, Quavo's another offshoot of Future. And so it's like when you're saying, like, their formula, it's like, well, who are the people that are kind of, like, using the Migos way and style in a way that's working that you can kind of like see today? I mean, explain it to me. I'm like asking legitimately because I don't see it.
Okay, I would say 21 to a degree, right? Mm-hmm. I would say I would say Yachty used that to a degree. I would say, honestly, I think that even the way Lil Baby comes with it, I think that the way that Gunna comes with it, and granted, they all have a lot of different influences, but just that circle that they consistently work with, the Migos laid out a blueprint of how to actually continue to not only service your mixtape crowd, but that mainstream crowd too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had records like Bando. They had records that was just on some mixtape circuit that were big, even Dab. And then they had stuff like Versace, Hannah Montana, T-Shirt, Bad and Bougie. And when you look at, I mean, countless hits that they have and countless like bangers on the mixtape and B-side circuit, Quavo is like the nucleus of that. His hook game is a 10.
So respectfully, I'm saying all this to say that when you're saying all those things, I'm not necessarily going to discount them, but it's like, couldn't we literally say the same thing about Future though? And just off the premise of that, doesn't that kind of slide Quavo back? Can't we say the same thing about Future with Dirty Sprite and with the albums? Definitely with the influence in terms of how to structure and how to make the songs.
Well, I don't think they're the same.
Like niggas really sound like Future.
I don't think Future and Quavo are the same person.
It's just I mean, I personally understand what you're saying. I don't see it though, because I feel like Future inherently gets in the way of a lot of that premise. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
I think that Future is probably the reason I left Thug off, right? Whereas Quavo is more of a young, updated version of Gucci Mane to a degree. When it comes to
Okay.
being able to make songs, his collaborative prowess. I mean, the album that he made with Travis Scott, Honcho Jack. I mean, he works well and collaborates well with any and everybody. And whenever he's on a record with anybody, whether it be Ti, whether it be, Travis, whoever, he's the nucleus. You know what I'm saying? From the hook and however that goes down, there's not a Migos song without Quavo. We got Migo hits without Offset. We got Migo hits without Takeoff. Ain't no Migos songs without Quavo. Oh, Dumb It Down with the super chat says, so impact is based on how many kids. If your music is easy to recreate, that means it's formula. What is it? Formulac and doesn't require skill. No, we're gonna act like I don't.
I don't know
Are
if
we
that's
acting like
necessarily
Phonte
true.
made a Stankonia or Kumina or something?
No, I mean, okay, so like, no,
He's a
impact
dope
isn't just
MC. He's
based
a
on
great
impact.
MC.
Like,
Like,
no. Impact isn't just based on like how many kids you have out, because sometimes your impact is just how legendary and classic you are your
sure.
damn self. You
It's
feel
true.
what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's just like, no. Look at this nigga. Look at his catalog. Like when somebody walking, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like for a long time, like Scarface is number one on this list, but a lot of the time, it's like a lot of the time he's been your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that it's like, well, you may not understand his impact unless you're in a room with some of the greatest rappers of all time and you see how they gravitate towards him. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And so those things matter too and can be measured as impact. But I don't want to overstate impact too much too, because the main reason that Faces at number one is because what? Well, he has the most quality music and catalog of anybody who ever counted this region, and has got the skills to match. Think about it. He's got records with Nas. He's got records with Jay. He's got records with Beanie Siegel. He's got records with Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? He's got records with Tupac. He's literally worked with the greatest MCs of all time and made some of the best shit in the process of doing it. Think about it.
No,
Like, who else can say that? Who else really worked with Tupac, Nas, Jay, Ice Cube? Like really, really.
Mm-hmm. No, Beans.
Beans. I
Christopher
mean, I wouldn't
Hogan.
put Beans up there on that stratosphere, but
Beans is great.
Next step down. We're gonna talk about Beans when we get done with this list. Actually, we need to talk. We need to talk about Beans and the Jay interview.
Yep, we will.
Yeah.
Christopher Hogan says Quavo doesn't have one good solo song. I like Lamb Talk, man. I do. Man there with the super chat says, what has Quavo done solo outside of features? It's so funny to me, man. This man actually has a solo album, right? And I know Andre 3000's Leaps and Bounds, a better MC and all this shit. Y'all same people will sit here and argue down this man is top 3 all time and doesn't have any solo material as a rapper. It's funny. Now the solo stuff is a problem, huh? This man's at the tail end of the list. Now people want to talk about solo stuff. Y'all are hilarious, man.
We got to start qualifying certain things too. Like, people that say the Andre stuff, I'm literally starting to pull up on people and I'm like, well, Prodigy made Quiet Storm and Raekwon made Incarcerated Scarfaces, and they're not even in our top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So explain to me how that works exactly in your world. Like the hip hop world that you're living in, where Andre 3000, and I understand because I used to live in that world, but I don't anymore. Like to thank you for removing me from that world, Mike, opening my eyes and showing me to the light. But now that we have made it to the light, it's like, okay, can he make something? Not saying it has to be like on some East Coast gangsta classic rap shit like Incarcerated Scarfaces or like Quiet Storm, but that high level solo standout moment that makes you say, that might be some of the best rap that I've ever heard.
Can he
doesn't have a song.
Let's
like
go
that.
with Lauren. Can he make a doo-wop, that thing, as a rapper? Can he make a Lost Ones as a rapper?
Final Hour.
Yeah.
Final Hour. He doesn't even have a Final Hour is a beast.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says you guys keep saying about impact, but what about Jay Electronica's impact opposed to Jeezy? Got to stop disrespecting the snowman. I don't have Jay Electronica on my list. I don't.
Well, I have him on mine, but I just said I would swap him out for Trick Daddy. Actually, that's one of the
Yeah.
changes I would make. So yeah.
I mean,
So no
again,
disrespect to Jeezy. I actually like Jeezy more than Jay Electronica.
my list, looking at it now, my list is a lot about impact. And maybe that's why Luda is 18, because I know how nice Luda is. You know what I mean? And that's kind of far down, some people would think.
I felt Luda was actually the perfect combination of somebody who was nice enough and had enough hit records and did leave enough of a mark that he was top 10. Like just enough. Like he did just enough in my opinion. So I do feel like you have him.
That?
I feel like you have him too low.
You think he left a mark like that in the South?
I said enough of a mark.
Okay.
Like enough. Like you want to know it? He has his own little niche and thing and carved out that he's always going to be remembered for that you can't like take away from him. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
Like not a lot of Southern MCs like have that. You know what I'm saying? He's got something to call his own. Yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat says the Migos flow is the flow everybody uses. Future tweaked his flow because he wasn't rhyming like 2011. Migos had the clubs in 2012, and this is Mad Max. This is our younger audience right here speaking.
Okay.
I want to hear from the younger people about this.
No. I mean that is
as well.
If that's, I mean, we got to give that some weight because Mad Max is younger. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I was asking for them. Like I was like, no, give me the evidence where the Migos are like influencing it. If you're telling me that the Migos are making like Future go back into the lab and twerk with his flow, oh, that's some evidence. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think it's enough evidence to have Quavo up this high over some of the other people. But I do, but valid argument and point made by Mad Max.
Yeah. I think also too what we have to look at, and I know we're living in the now. I think the Migos run has been, I mean, I think it's kind of tail end now, but the run has been very extensive over some other people's run whose run wasn't that extensive. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I factored in, with the Jeezy thing. And I know I keep getting heat for that. I think that after Thug Motivation 101, it was kind of a decline, right? I mean, am I wrong?
He had some ebb and flows. So as a fan of his, I've always told you it's like, well, Trap or Die 1 and 2 are really his favorite joints of mine. You know what I'm saying? I actually prefer Trap or Die 2 to Trap or Die 1 because he's a better
rapper on there, yeah.
He's a better rapper on Trap or Die 2, yeah. I think people like Trap or Die 1 for nostalgia purposes. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Because Hood Politics is on Trap or Die 2, right?
Yeah, it is. Hood Politics. Mine is Go Hard or Go Home.
The L Web, says, how do y'all have Ross high up, though? Where is his classic album? I'll let you handle that one.
Are we going there right now, or are we going to finish the Jeezy thing? We can go there right now. Hold that Rick Ross thought. Let's finish the Jeezy thing. So he has Trap or Die 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, 101 is his biggest buzz and his biggest moment. And when you look back at it, it's still his best album, probably. But The Recession was a record, or it was inconsistent at times. But it has some of his most high-level stuff on there. Welcome Back, Who Dat.
Who Dat was a banger.
I love Who Dat.
Yeah, Who Dat was a banger.
Yeah, Who Dat might be Shorty Red's best beat. What else? He had Get a Lot was on there. Put On was on there. Black President with Nas was on there. So he had some stuff on there. 103 is probably his second best album, Mike, but he had a lot of help. But he put it together like in a West Side Gun type of way where it was like really, really dope. Like Jada Kiss and Fabulous are on there on OJ. Future's with him on Way Too Gone. Chains is with him on Super Freak. Drake, think about it. He got 3000 and Jay-Z on a song together. Like that's not regular nigga type of shit. Like so I do, you know what I'm saying?
They pasted 3,000 on there.
they got This One's For You with Trick Daddy's on there, so he got Trick on there too. Like 103 is pretty damn nice. Leave You Alone with Neo is on there.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I need to go revisit that one.
So 103 is pretty fucking strong. I think people don't give 103 enough credit. Actually, it was one of the better albums that came out of the South, and particularly out of Atlanta at the time it came out, actually.
Let me get this super chat. We got Jason over here. He says, "What up? I'm a big fan of what both of you are giving the people with your info and objectivity in hip hop. I've learned a lot about the culture since. We appreciate that. We want to continue to give you that, man. Good looking out." DJ Bruce Almighty says, "Did he question Ross?" Shaking my head. Just kidding.
Okay, hold on. So are we done with the Jeezy thing, or you want me to kind of finish that thought, or we jump into the Ross thing?
Let's jump to the Ross thing. Let me get to the rest of these super chats. Tabanet said, "No notifications today. 3 joints that made its way to Australia growing up. Mike Jones' first album, Slim Thug's already platinum, and David Banner's certified. They turned me on to the South as a youngin'." Okay. Ray Rims with the $50 super chat. Good looking out, Ray Rims. He said 50 for the time lost. I hit the mat bad, but I got up before the 8 count. Listen to every episode until my money got a little bit better. I only knew you brothers were doing a Thursday episode about a minute ago because I just finished your Wednesday episode. Well, thanks for the love, Ray Rim. Good looking out, man. You've been missed. Glad you're doing better. Jason says, "Who's the best producer you've heard beats? You've heard beat for beat." Okay, it's a couple of things. Peace from Australia. Appreciate you, Jason. One more. We got a lot, man. I'm sorry. The L Webb says DJ Bruce Almighty Ross makes the same type of music over and over. Overrated. All right.
First of all, Ray, if you need anything, like hit us. You know what I mean? Inbox me or Mike, like in the super chat.
Shoot the email, man. He emails us and everything, man. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us, drop a line on us, please. To the Ross thing. First of all, the classic albums. I think God Forgives and I Don't is a classic. Would you like to pull up this? Because this is what I mean about how sometimes albums get slept on because of who the artist is. This was the album where it's like I just gave it up to Ross because it was just clearly like a brilliant album, and it's one of those albums that it's like, well, it's really hard to say no to it if you actually like really think about it, especially if you look at the landscape at the time. So the track list in the God Forgives and I Don't, like, I want you to tell me where the bad song is, Mike. Pirates, 3 Kings, Ashamed, Maybach Music 4, 16, Amsterdam, Hold Me Back, 9/11, So Sophisticated, Presidential, Ice Cold, Touching You, maybe Ice Cold.
I was gonna say Ice Cold's like the first one you named that I'm like,
We're on track 12. Ice Cold's track 12, and then it goes Touching You with Usher, Diced Pineapples, 10 Jesus Pieces,
that's my
Triple
shit.
Beam Dreams, Rich Forever. That's not a classic rap album?
Yeah, I think it is.
That's clearly a classic rap album.
But again, I think I'm biased, man.
That's one album, Mike. That's some Southern artist hit catalog.
I felt like I was maybe biased with that record because I used to be in Miami a lot, and when that record was out, when that record was out,
the tracks I just named.
Amsterdam was my shit, man. Amsterdam.
Pirates, 3 Kings, Maybach Music 4, 16, Amsterdam, Hold Me Back, 9/11. Mike, these are all classics.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Pineapples, 10 Jesus Pieces, Mike. That's classic.
Yeah, 10 Jesus.
Dreams with Nas, Rich Forever.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna listen to 10 Jesus Pieces after we get off this live.
Like, what you talking about? And Mike, that's a classic rap album. Not just like a classic for its time. It's like, no, like, how about this? Ice Cold, better than Braveheart Party. Still, Maddox a classic.
But that's Nas though. Double Down with the super chat says, "This is the last time. This is the last of my rent money. You keep changing the argument. Phonte being a favorite rapper's favorite rapper is Impact. Run the Jewels is selling out arenas. It's Impact. Okay. Man says, didn't Chameleonaire have Impact in the South?
More business-wise. But Photograph with Bun B was my shit, though.
I think when we start talking about Impact, and I hate to do it like this because, but it is what it is. Look, we got to start pointing to music, right? Because that's where the impact really comes from.
Well, that's why Ross is so high, Mike.
Huh?
Like, think about it. It's like we just named those records off of one album.
Exactly.
That's not deeper than rap. That's not Teflon Don. Like,
Yeah.
That,
The
it's got other
impact
stuff.
really comes from the music. You know what I mean? Like, I have, and I don't even know if I'm going to get to it. With the whole Quavo argument, I have written down like 50 songs.
I was about to say, Mike, I don't know if anybody even on this list has more bangers than Ross. Like if we just talking about like the stuff that you put in your car and just like, yo, ride to that. Like, I don't know if there's anybody on our list that has more bangers than Ross.
As an individual and as a solo artist, it's hard, man.
Ross or Future, right?
Yeah, that was the first name that came to mind for me.
And then I was thinking about all the collaborative stuff that they've given other people too, and it's like it's clearly those two. When Mike, I mean, you saw what happened to Chains. We love Chains. I got Chains at 19 on my list. Ross was like, I got another 20, and I was thinking like, damn, you do, because you didn't pick any of my records.
I picked Chains because I mean, let's just be real. I was just being illogical and being a fan about it. But if you want to sit here and be objective, it wasn't even fair. But see, I didn't know how Ross was going to approach it. I didn't know he was going to go out there playing some of the stuff he did.
How about this? If Big Boy doesn't have Outkast catalog and Outkast catalog isn't what it is, like it's not even like a conversation, and I don't have Big Boy ahead of Ross. Like I got Big Boy ahead of Ross strictly because of the Outkast catalog. Because if we were going like solo catalog for solo catalog, it wouldn't even be a conversation. Not with Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Ross has a special catalog, period. I mean,
like Big Boy's solo catalog is more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying of any region, not just the South. You know.
Yeah, like Big Boy's catalog is more comparable to Bun B's to me. You know what I'm saying? Like Ross catalog is superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat says Teflon Don is a classic. God Forgives I Don't is very good. I don't know about classic.
Listen to the songs I just named.
You know another Ross album that I personally like? I like the one that had Elvis Presley Boulevard because he dropped 2 in a year that time. I think it was right after God Forgives, right?
I like Rather You Than Me.
The one that was the same year as Mastermind, the one I'm thinking about.
I didn't like Mastermind like that.
I like
the beats
Mastermind.
in there were dope. The beats were dope.
You didn't like him redoing Your Nobody Till Somebody Kills You?
Nah. I like I like Rather You Than Me. That's Rather You Than Me, Mike. That's the one that's got Santorini Grease. Yep. Look at this. Apple of My Eye. Yep. Idols Become Rivals.
Yep.
Trap. Dead Presidents. I Think She Liked Me. Game Ain't Based on Sympathy. Lamborghini Doors. Scientology. Triple Platinum. Summer 17. Like he's got no. He deserves to be in the top 10, possibly top 5.
The L Web 100 says Ross makes good music for the whip, but I've never been high on dude. And see, I think that sounds like more of a personal thing, right? We got to put all that aside and let the music, speak. The music is the one that's gonna rank you, right? It's not your personality and all of that. And what is it? Seek Bix says, would you guys collab with other YouTubers for streams? Specifically, Torturita. Haven't heard of Torturita.
We don't know what that is.
Well, whatever you guys want to see. I mean, even when we did Rap Roundtable, we need to get up with them again, and that was fun.
It's nice to see them again.
If everybody's cool, and people want to have a good conversation, and ain't no trolling, nothing like that. Yeah, we cool with it.
Okay, so like, you wanna what do you want to do? You want to like wrap up this list and then kind of move to the J thing or the Siegel thing, because this is a continuation. I don't want to take the whole show up again.
No, for real. I'm with that.
So let's just say let's go through any changes that you would make to your list and my list, and we'll kind of keep it moving. We can kind of start with you since you are our new viral king.
Like I said, I'm putting Trick Daddy in for Killer Mike, but I'm gonna push Quavo back a spot. And Trick has to be above Quavo, obviously.
Okay.
I might have Currency slightly. I don't know, man. I love what Currency's doing.
Where you got Currency?
I got Currency at 20.
I got him at 17.
I got Crit at 21. I kind of like where I got that. Yeah, I think my biggest misstep is not having Trick Daddy in there.
I'm about to say Crit's probably my biggest misstep, but I think I got Crit at like. Matter of fact, I'm looking at where I got Crit. I got Crit at 28 because my 26 is BG, my 27 is No Malice, my 28 is Crit.
Man, no
And then my
malice.
29 is Trick Daddy. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. So for me, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, and just about all things being fair and considered. If you want to put Wayne over Pusha T, I'm cool with that. But I would submit to you that it's like if we're doing that, like I would actually probably move Cole up to 2 if we're doing that. Because if we're doing that, I'm taking the like if we're gonna ignore the fact that like Wayne never really stepped to him, then it's like well then give me the MC after Face, and that would be Cole. You know what I'm saying?
And Cole's a superstar.
And Cole, right. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like because the Pusha T Wayne thing is about Pusha T stardom or lack thereof. It's like oh well Cole's a big ass star and he's a better lyricist like than almost pretty much anybody walking around right now. So I'd actually go Face and then I go Cole and then we can go Wayne and Pusha T comfortably. And I'm cool all the way until Killer Mike. And I would take Killer Mike out and insert who did I say, Mike? I said I'd insert Future. Yeah, I put Future right there where Killer Mike is.
Okay. Second
And
generation for second generation.
Yep, and I would take Electronica out and just put him probably where I have Trick at 29 and move Trick in and put Electronica back at 29. And after that, I'm cool. I'm an MC guy, so putting Sci-Hi and Rhapsody in, if you want to give me because right after Sci-Hi and Rhapsody, I have BG and No Malice. So I kind of like picked the lyrical over like the catalog a little bit at the end. And so if you wanted to flip that, that's fine. I think a lot of people slept on who BG like was when he was,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I mean, from what I understand from my friends out there in Louisiana, he was a pioneer when it came to the gangster shit that was
Yeah.
getting spit in, in that region.
Yeah.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says every album after Teflon Don was the exact same. That's why Ross, devised because what is it devised because he's not all that he picks great beats. He's not all that, but he picks great beats. But he doesn't do much with them. I think he does enough as far as like he doesn't go over the top with it. He's not gonna go crazy on the record. He blends in with the records very well, and I think we heard that on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy on Double in the New Dress. Like he sounds like he's just going right in with the track. Sean with the super chat says, top of the evening, guys. BG's resume from Cash Money catalog should be higher over Juvenile. Cool. What were you gonna say, Cool?
I mean, I love the BG love, but like also too, like just and this is just respectfully.
400 Degrees is special.
I got Juvenile at 22. I got BG at 26. So he's absolutely right. And Mike, you just named what the separation is.
Yeah.
It's 400 Degrees being the special album that it is. If how about this? If 400 Degrees doesn't have High and Back That Ass Up, it's BG. But it's like High and Back That Ass Up are literally that important, and 400 Degrees is at 5.
Those are big ones to have. That's like saying
those are
if the Ghetto Boys didn't have Mom Playing Tricks on Me or something. Like, those are big records. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so I want to kind of end it like maybe with this. Scarface is the author of My Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Never Seen a Man Die. A Minute to Pray, a Second to Die. Hand of the Dead Body with Ice Cube. Smile with Tupac. Favor for a Favor with Nas. What's the Joints with Jay? This Can't Be Life. And Guess Who's Back? Like, who down here got that?
Somehow, some way. Dumb It Down with the super chat says. Dumb It Down says, so you got Ross's music over the Minstrel Show and the Listening. Go album for album and Phonte wins. You diss Big Boy.
No, that's not true.
But got Pusha T at number 2 based on group work.
You can only go 2 albums in. That's totally not a fair assessment or an accurate assessment. You can only go to the Minstrel Show and the Listening to find the superior work. It's like, that's 2 albums. That's not enough.
Well, they said something just then. All right, who you got? You got Little Brother or Clips? Album for album.
Clips.
You said that with no hesitation.
Yep.
So you got Hell Have No Fury over the Minstrel Show?
I do, but it's not by a lot, but I do.
I think the Minstrel Show is Little Brother's best work. I
I
have
agree.
I have fond and vivid memories of the listening. It was one of the guy we
Why are
worked
people
with.
getting at me? Phonte made my list. They need to be getting at you.
Yo,
He's
it
on my
was a
list.
guy that worked at Dave and Buster's with us back in the day, man. His name slips me right now, but he was one of the captains, right? And he was into underground hip hop, and I guess underground at the time. I hate that
The
term
Asian
too.
dude,
Yeah,
man.
yep, that's his name.
Man used to burn my CDs for me.
Yep, and the first time I ever heard the listening was through him,
Me
and he
too.
burned that. I think we was at his crib or something. It was like he
Mike,
had the CD, he
he lived.
played the shit, and yeah,
We lived in those same apartment complex behind the BP off Cobb Parkway, across from the Best Buy.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we lived in the same neighborhood. I would walk from my building over to his building when he would get off from work and go up into his room and be like, "Yo," I was like, "I got some coming over. Make me an R. Kelly mix CD." Boom. That's
yep.
before we
He
found out
had
R.
all
Kelly
the
was a
CDs.
nasty bastard.
But yeah, man, that was my first time listening to Little Brother and the Listening when that came
You
out, and
put me onto that,
I was
yeah.
like, yo, this is dope.
hmm
Fond memories of it.
He used to take my instrumentals for me, Mike, and put them like on a whole like thing for me. Like I would have beats over here and beats over there. I'd be like, "Hey, Chan, can you like put the shit on like one thing for me?"
Oh man, hip hop was so fun,
I ran into him at, you remember Claire Harper?
Claire Harper. Yeah.
One of Claire's kids had a birthday party probably about 6 or 7 years ago, Mike, and I went up to see her and went to the pool party and took my daughter, obviously, because she loved to jump in some water. And Chan was actually there, and we chopped it up for a minute. So I saw him about 6, 7 years ago.
That's
He looked
what's
good.
up.
He's in really good shape. You know, he's always a big dude, but he's like in shape.
That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, Saha lyrically is the top 5 Southern MC ever? Question mark.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, bar for bar is pretty tough, man.
Yeah.
Christopher Hogan says, Soldier Slim is Louisiana's GOAT. Soldier Slim is that dude.
I got Soldier Slim is at he's 33 on my list.
Sean with the super chat. Appreciate the love, Sean. Good looking out. Says, if you do Chopper City in the Ghetto versus 400 Degrees, song for song, BG wins all day. I'm writing that in my notes. We're going to do that next episode.
I was about to say,
I want to do that.
put that down. I want to do that because I actually love Chopper City in the Ghetto. So can I tell you something personally?
Mm-hmm.
I know Ha and Back That Ass Up are bigger. I think Cash Money is Army is a better song than both of those songs.
That's
actually.
one of
Just
my favorite.
Inherently speaking.
Get out of my head. I was
just
telling
on the fundamental on some rap shit. Cash Money as an Army is better to me.
I was telling
You know what I'm
somebody
saying?
the other day that that's one of my favorite Manny beats and one of my favorite Cash Money songs, period.
He's the one that actually got me on them, Mike. I wasn't on them after 400 Degrees. A lot of that is just the younger contrarian in me that like just refused to ride a wave that like
Right.
really hit that hard that fast. But when BG came out with that, I was like, no, I can't deny that shit. That shit hard.
My
Like,
stomping ground is the motherfucking UPT. Yeah, that shit was hard.
yeah,
And then Bling Bling's on there too. So if we want to talk about hits, Bling Bling's important.
super important. It's in the dictionary. Every time I come around your city.
All right, so what, you want to move on to this Jay-Z interview?
One more thing. I got actually one more thing for you. This is just some head stuff, and then we can move on. Who are the top 5 lyricists to come out of the South?
Okay, are we just taking away everything and we're just talking about
We're
straight
just
up
stripping it
lyrics?
down. Lyrically speaking, who are the best 5 guys we got down here?
Andre 3000,
Yes, sir.
CeeLo,
Agreed.
saying, man, I'm starting to think Saha,
I'm going
Pusha
Cole
T.
after that, but yeah.
Cole. Yeah, I'm good with those 5. And
No, we missing one. That's 4. We got Cole, Sci-Hi.
No, I said
Dre, and
Pusha T.
CeeLo.
I said Pusha T.
You put Pusha at 5 over
Oh, he's in the mix.
over
This is no order what I said, but
over Phonte and Jay Electronica.
yes.
Okay, I'm cool with
Do
that.
you have Phonte over Pusha T as a lyricist?
You know I don't.
Okay.
You know, but I might be biased. That's why I was asking you.
No.
Okay.
I mean, listen, man.
We'll check.
Listen, and I don't want to sound like I'm dumping on whoever, right? Phonte could give us a runaway verse.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But
capable
but
of.
Pusha
But can he
has
give us
those
a?
things.
But hold on. But can he give us a so appalled verse though?
Exactly.
Ooh,
Pusha's done
that's
all these
yeah.
things.
Pusha got more
I
levels maybe
believe
since
that
I've
Pusha could.
realized.
I think Pusha, outside of the singing stuff, can do what Phonte does on the mic, but Phonte can't do what Pusha does on the mic.
I agree with that to a large degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now we can get to the Jay interview.
They said we got to have Scarface lyrically in the top 5.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Who's going out? I'm taking Sci-Hi out if that's the case.
Dumb It Down says y'all hating is confirmed. We're not, man. You gonna have me listening to nothing but Little Brother on the road trip, man. Maybe I forgot.
have Phonte at 16. I'm not hating on anything.
Y'all know me, man. I'm a huge Elzhi fan, right? And I think for me, when those two hook up, I mean, because they're very comparable as far as style and approach goes, Elzhi, with Dilla there, possibly sometimes, and then you had Phonte with Knife Wonder there, and just the way they approach the track. Every time they've gotten together, Elzhi, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Elzhi makes Phonte look like Big Pooh.
Okay.
To me, now y'all might think different, but so I think maybe that's kind of making me like, yo, yeah, I can't put Phonte over Sci-Hi lyrically. And somebody said Phonte was equal with Elzhi. Man, I'm listening to different stuff, I guess, man.